There was a serious fire in Conan City on the 26th of March this year. 3 houses were totally destroyed. The fire was extinguished 3 hours after the 119 call. Apparently, the origin of the fire was the residence of a family of Brazilians living in company housing. The husband was away at the time of the fire, but his wife and 7-year-old son were killed, unfortunately.
Mas a esposa e o filho de 7 anos, infelizmente, morreram.
It was the week of the Fall Fire Prevention Campaign from the 9th to the 15th of November. At this time, fire is likely to occur due to dry air. Therefore, we will present some tips on fire prevention and what to do in case of fire.
Vamos apresentar algumas dicas de prevenção contra os incêndios.
Hello, I am Jacqueline. This fire was very close to my house. The next day, I went there to show solidarity. The entire local community volunteered to help. Fire is very scary, isn't it? Hello, I'm Vanya Ishikura. It's sad when someone living near your house is killed by fire.
Principalmente quando envolvem pessoas conhecidas, como nesse caso, né, Jaqueline?
Have a look at this number, just to give you an idea. 562 cases. This is the number of fires that occurred in SHIGA last year.
Este é o número de incêndios que ocorreram em SHIGA no último ano.
This number means there was more than one fire per day in SHIGA. We cannot ignore this. So what should we do if a fire happens? Let's see what to do if we are faced with a fire. We should always keep in mind the basic principles such as call the fire department, extinguish the fire at the initial stage, and escape. Their priorities depend on the situation. If the fire is in its initial stage, we call 119 and put out the fire. However, we have to watch out for time to escape. We need to stay calm to take the right steps.
Mas preste atenção para fugir a tempo e procure manter a calma para tomar as medidas corretas.
We should call 119 first. Exactly. I had some practical lessons at Minami Fire Station in Otsu. I am in Minami Fire Station in Hikarigaoka-cho, Otsu. The charge of security guidance section of the prevention division of Otsu Fire Department, Mr. Hitoshi Osawa, will teach us the lessons.
Hitoshi Osawa vai nos orientar sobre como comunicar os bombeiros.
What should I do if there is a fire? It is very important what to do in the initial stage of the fire, as if you leave a fire, it will spread quickly. Specifically, it's important to put out the fire, call 119, and escape as soon as possible. Let me tell you how important it is to call 119. Once you notice a fire outbreak, you need to call 119. If you don't call 119, we firefighters can't come to the fire. Depending on how bad the fire is, if you think you can't put out the fire, you must call 119 right away. You will have to answer several questions, but while answering the questions, the fire crew is on the way.
火災の状況にもよるんですけれども、自分の手に負えないと、もうすぐ判断できるような場合でしたら、すぐさま119番通報を行ってください。いろいろと聞かれるんですけれども、消防隊につきましては、そのお話をですね、聞いている間にもう出動しておりますので、安心してください。
I understand. If you are faced with a fire, it is natural to panic, but you need to stay calm and take a deep breath and tell us the information of the fire.
一度ですね、深呼吸ですね。落ち着いていただいて、現在の状況を冷静に伝えてもらうことが必要です。
Hello, this is the 119. Report of a fire or ambulance request. A fire. A fire report? Yes. What is the address? 411 Kyomachi Otsu. 4-1-1, right? Yes. That's Shiga Prefecture office. Yes. Do you know what's burning? Flames are coming out of a heater. Flames are coming out of a heater, right? Yes. Did you try to put out the fire at the beginning? Yes, but I couldn't. You couldn't, right? Yes. Understood. Is there anyone who couldn't escape? No. Fire trucks are on the way. Could you tell us your name? My name is Vanya Ishikura. Vanya Ishikura, could you tell me the phone number where you are? 524. I understand. Did you think of making the call to the fire department? I was very nervous. I had the impression that she was calm when making the call. I hope you have no need to call 119, but if by chance you need to do it, try to remain calm, as Mrs. Ishikura did, and offer information on the situation clearly. It is very important to report the fire quickly, isn't it? What's next? We will see how to put out a fire outbreak in its early stages. I also received guidance at Minami Fire Station in Otsu. What to do when you face a fire. Fire extinction in the early stages. Now I will talk about the extinction of fire in the early stages. If the fire is not too big, you can control it by using a fire extinguisher or buckets of water. Fire extinguishers are especially easy to handle if you know how to use them. They have quite a lot of power to extinguish and are the most appropriate extinguishing equipment. And now I will tell you how to use a fire extinguisher. The handling of a fire extinguisher is quite simple. The way to use it is in these illustrations. Follow illustrations 1, 2, and 3 and you can use it without problems. This is not written here, but when you notice a fire outbreak, it is important to first give the alert by shouting "Kajida!" Fire! aloud to warn people around.
ただですね、こちらには書いていないんですけれども、まず火災を発見したときは火事だということで大きい声を出して周りの人に火災が起こったということを伝えてあげることが大切です。
Why is a loud warning important? Because a fire causes smoke. The smoke is harmful to human health, and in many cases the person who breathes the smoke can lose consciousness and thus cannot run away and dies. So when realizing the focus of the fire, warn the people around loudly. This is the first step to putting out fires.
ですので火災が起こったときはまず大きな声で火災が発生したんだということを伝えることから初期消火というのは始まります。
I understand. Fire! What to do when you face a fire. How to use a fire extinguisher. Now I'm going to tell you how to use a fire extinguisher. First, you let people around know that there is a fire loudly. Fire! Fire! Grab an extinguisher and approach about 5 meters away from the fire. Make sure you are safe. Then remove the yellow pin on the top of the extinguisher. Unlock the black hose and point to the source of the fire. Finally, pull the trigger and release the jet. And if the fire is controlled, approach slowly and put it out completely. As this training today, the content of the fire extinguisher is water.
炎が消えてくると少しずつ近づきながら最後消火します。今日は訓練用で水が出るようになっています。
Fire! What do you think? It was easy to use a fire extinguisher, wasn't it? But if you do not know how to use it, you may feel insecure. That's right. If you have a fire extinguisher at home, check how to use it again, please. If you don't have any, we suggest you get one for your safety.
消火器をお持ちでないご家庭については、一家に一台、家庭の安全のために消火器を設置するように心がけてください。
Do I have a fire extinguisher at home? Let's see if we have a fire extinguisher at home. It's not good just to have a fire extinguisher at home. Let's check the best before date. It's useless for emergency if it has expired. We have seen that it is important to shout out loud to alert, and now we are talking about... Let's talk about evacuation. What to do when you face a fire. Evacuation. I'm going to tell you about evacuations. When a fire occurs, smoke occurs too. It's important to get away to a safe place because if you get lost in the smoke, it's difficult to escape. To give you an idea of the danger of smoke, Mrs. Ishikura is going through the experience with smoke. This is a room which we will fill with smoke. Go in, please.
こちらに煙をですね、今焚いておりますので、一度入ってみてください。
Okay.
わかりました。怖い怖い。
It's scary. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. I'm scared. It's very dark.
すっごく暗い。
What did you think? I couldn't see anything. I was scared. Smoke has a certain characteristic. Smoke rises and starts spreading out in an upper direction and comes down along the walls. As the smoke spreads quickly in the vertical direction and slowly in the lateral direction, the bottom of the room is considerably more visible. This means that you put your head down as best as you can and cover your nose with a towel or scarf so not to breathe in the smoke. Due to poor visibility, it is important to get out by groping the walls with one hand.
こういったタオルやハンカチを鼻に当てていただいて、でなかなか視界が悪い状況ですので、壁伝いですね、片方の手で壁を伝いながら避難をして、出入り口をこう探すことが大切になってきます。はい。
Today, through Mrs. Ishikawa's experiences, I explain what to do in case of fire, the extinction of the fire, the call of the fire, and evacuation. It is most important to find a fire as early as you can. The main cause of death in residential fires is the fact you cannot escape in time. We suggest installation of fire alarms in order to help detect the occurrence of a fire as soon as possible so as not to delay the escape trail. If you have installed fire alarms in your home already, check them frequently, please. If not, please install them as soon as possible to prevent residential fires.
こまめな点検を実施していただき、まだご家庭に設置されておられない場合は早期に設置していただいて、住宅火災の防止に努めていただきたいなと思います。
I am scared just imagining a real fire. The smoke can be a great enemy at the time of escape, so we really need to avoid inhaling the smoke.
Por isso, precisamos evitar ao máximo para não inalar a fumaça.
Sim, com certeza.
I understand it's important to install fire alarms. With training and information on fires, I understand it's important to know what to do in an emergency. It can help us to act correctly and to prevent damage even if we are in a panic or scared.
Agir corretamente mesmo diante do desespero e assim evitar maiores desastres e danos.
It's getting colder and colder and we use heaters more often. We need to be careful not to cause a fire. Today, we talked about how to prevent fires and what to do in case of a fire.
Hoje falamos sobre como nos comportarmos e como nos prevenirmos em caso de incêndios.
Some information follows. Registration open for Manufacturing Staff Training Course. Registration is open for Manufacturing Staff Training Course. This course aims to prepare people for work in production process. not only learning quality control skills, but also computer skills required to work in companies. The course will be for 4 months from the 10th of February next year at Conan Net IT School, near JR Yasu Station. You can expect an interpreter in Portuguese. Recruitment is from December 25th to January 15th. There are 15 vacancies. Since there is a need to receive advanced support instruction and career counseling by Hello Work Director, please consult as soon as possible at your local Hello Work if you would like to attend. There will be a selection of candidates. More information is available at Conan Net IT School.
Pré-avaliação vocacional com o gerente do Hello Work mais próximo. Haverá seleção dos candidatos. Maiores informações no Conan Net IT School, Escola de Informática Conan Net.
The International Festival 2014 in Koka. The International Festival 2014 in Koka will be held in Hekisui Hall in Koka on December 14th, Sunday. It is the largest international event of the Koka region. You may get the feeling of traveling around the world through the music and typical foods from different countries. And in the end, we will sing the song It's a Small World. Admission is free, but the food and drinks are charged. For further information, contact Koka International Society. Feel free to join.
Centro de Confraternização Internacional de Koka. Vamos prestigiar.
Our next program will be on December 27th. We will talk about Let's Have Safety Winter Life, preparation against heavy snow and ice. Finally, we will introduce an international resident who is working for us as a volunteer firefighter.
Colaborando na prevenção contra calamidades e incêndios da comunidade onde vive. Tchau, tchau.
See you next time. Mr. Eddie Waskow is from Canada and has been living in Japan for 8 years. He is a member of the squad Fujimi Fire Brigade in Otsu City. Why did you become a volunteer firefighter?
After I first moved here, I joined Sports Festival, and at the Sports Festival I watched fire department training drill.
Wow.
And the following year I watched it again, and after watching it I was very excited, so I went and spoke with some of the firefighters who live in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the following year I joined.
Wow, that's great.
The Volunteer Fire Brigade is a leader of local disaster prevention. Even though volunteers have full-time jobs or are students, they offer their efforts to protect the community, such as extinguishing fires, rescuing people in case of natural disasters, and participating in disaster prevention activities.
No salvamento e resgate de vítimas em caso de terremotos, desastres naturais, além de participarem na prevenção contra desastres, com o objetivo de proteger a vida e bens das pessoas da comunidade onde vive.
What do you think of being a volunteer firefighter?
So we have a lot of training we do every year, plus public education, including emergency preparedness training.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there's also end-of-year party and New Year's party and so on.
Yeah, so great.
Winter is the most dangerous season for accidental house fire. This winter, please remember, never leave open fire or cooking unattended. Be sure to have working smoke alarms in the kitchen, living room, and bedrooms. When using gas or oil stoves, don't forget to crack a window. Keep pets and children away from open flame and heat sources. Be careful with electricity. Don't overload power outlets. This winter, help us help you. Be fire smart.